MatPat just announced on Game Theory that after 13 extraordinary years of creating content, he is passing the torch to a select number of trustworthy theorists who work within the theory channels. But everyone who watched this announcement missed a crucial detail, and in this video, we're going to reveal it. Before we get to the present, I think it's only right we go down this wonderful path of videos that MatPat has made all these years first. So let's take you back to August 22nd, 2009. On this day, a young and passionate Matthew Patrick creates his first ever YouTube channel, but he didn't start immediately theorizing about 8-bit Mario's legitimate weight or anything like that. He actually started his channel in hopes of sharing his acting skills with the world. A day after he created his channel, he uploaded his first video, titled Blood Brothers Swearing on the Bible. Before YouTube was even a thought in Matthew's mind, he had his heart set on a career in acting. He had done so much in theater in high school and his education after graduation that he would, by technicality, be classified as a theater nerd. But I am so glad that he had that enthusiasm. That drive he had to entertain others gave us the MatPat that we have today. Fast forward now to April 14th, 2011, and this is the first sight of Matthew changing the trajectory of his career. On this day, he uploaded the Game Theory promotional video, where he discusses how he will solve the gaming industry's biggest unsolved mysteries for us, the viewers, because
why would you, when you can have someone do it for you?
From figuring out how much Minecraft diamond armor is worth, to Wario's fart rocket, he gave us a thorough analysis of any comprehensible anomaly. And to not make this just some other information channel, he implemented a humorous twist here and there as to make it a little more down-to-earth and less serious. And this is where it starts. After his first theory was posted, he came back every single week with something new to theorize about. We don't really think about it often, but MatPat literally created a whole new theory genre here on YouTube, along with countless new careers with creators following in his path. So, Game Theory brings a whole new community to YouTube, and it's paying off. MatPat gains a respectable following, and viewers are begging for their favorite games to be analyzed constantly. However, with the success of this channel, MatPat gets an idea, one that will change his life forever. If theorizing about games was so popular, what if he did the same thing, but with videos and films? Executing this idea correctly would not only add a whole new community that he can also make content for, but it would open up the door to other channels that he can make theorizing about other genres. So on May 12, 2014, MatPat created Film Theory, where he would analyze popular shows, movies, and even videos here on YouTube that had more than just what their face value was giving. Having an analytical approach involving scientific principles and logic to explore hidden details in this entertainment space was just unheard of as a means to make content on it back then. But it worked really well, and now MatPat had 2 channels under his belt, and it was time to expand the team a little. By now, MatPat had a few editors that worked for the Game Theory channel, but in order to upload 2 different types of videos on 2 different channels, you definitely need a little bit more than just a couple of editors. MatPat decides then that he's going to need to hire a small team to disperse the work among multiple people. So, little by little, he hires people that script, people that edit, people that brainstorm the ideas, and even people to research the topics that they then talk about in the videos. Thankfully, hiring all these people was a great idea, and the videos started taking off like crazy. There was more quality put into each episode, and they didn't seem rushed anymore, given their weekly upload schedule. You would think that it stops here, at 2 very successful channels, with each having an incredible audience. Well, it actually did stop here for a while, but there was some talking behind the scenes that was about to expand our theoryverse even more, and it was only a matter of time for it to take place. So now, a few years go by and the channels are doing better than anyone could have ever expected. Who would have thought that so many people were interested in theorizing about video games and various films? Well, if you thought this audience group was big, well, it's about to get a whole lot bigger. On May 29th, 2020, MatPat announced the launch of a brand new channel, Food Theory. MatPat and his team of theorists would break down and analyze a plethora of food myths, tips, and hoaxes. Once this channel was announced, the subscriber count skyrocketed almost immediately. Within the first 24 hours, it gained nearly 1 million subscribers, almost beating the record that my channel currently holds of 300 million subscribers. And their first video did extremely well. Talking about how McDonald's medium fries are not what they seem, it gained millions of views within a fairly short period of time. At this point, it was clear that MatPat and his team knew exactly how to attract an audience to ideas never been seen before. They honestly are the first team of creators to tap into multiple different audiences, all while keeping a consistent upload schedule on every single channel and managing to retain the audiences pretty consistently. but they were nowhere near where their full potential was just yet. You see, the logos of the theorist channels have a very specific design to them. It all started with game theory, so let's start there. If you notice the circle around the main logo, it looks just like the old Xbox 360 controller that would have the 4 different lights depending on which player you were. So, as it should, the game theory channel had the first light on, indicating the first channel. And then look at film theory. Not only is it a different color scheme to differentiate itself from game theory, but it stayed on brand and had the second light on, indicating that it was the second channel under the theorist team. By this point, I think you get where I'm getting to. They did the same thing with food theory, but now there was one last light that had yet to be illuminated, and this is where MatPat's final channel comes into play. On February 18th, 2023, MatPat launched Style Theory, where, you guessed it, he made theories about fashion and lifestyles. But to be honest with y'all, this information from these videos actually opened up my eyes to a lot of misconceptions within the fashion industry, especially with one of their odder videos, the one where they see if you actually need to shower with soap in order to be considered clean. This kind of information wasn't something we really wanted, but it's definitely information that we needed. Even with the pocket scandal, I had no clue that was the reason why they made women's pockets so small. And if you haven't watched that video, I would highly recommend it. It's very informative on the big business of fashion. But besides the amazing content provided on this channel, we had ourselves the YouTube equivalent of all the Infinity Stones under this team of creators. So now we finally come to the question, why would you leave this incredible legacy behind, especially when everything was going so well? Unfortunately, it's pretty clear to understand why, so let's start going through some of the more obvious reasons first, and then gravitate towards the more obscure reasons. So back in July of 2018, MatPat and his wife Stephanie brought in a wonderful new addition to their family. This meant that MatPat was no longer metaphorically raising children through his YouTube videos, he was now legitimately raising a child. Their little bundle of joy brought in so much to their life. Given that they are first-time parents, I'm sure it led to some difficulties and areas to learn from, but overall, they managed to raise an amazing and talented young boy. Now, while this is a beautiful moment, it's also the first sign that MatPat was planning on focusing on building a family rather than building a fan base. But in no way is this the wrong choice. Building up a family is one of the greatest moments in a person's life, and MatPat and Stephanie deserved every bit of it. But it did mean that soon enough we were probably going to get this farewell video so that they could focus more on living a more subtle lifestyle. But thankfully MatPat had a few more years in him to keep on pushing the channels to an even greater success. And one of the highlights of his career was coming up within those next few years. We're going to quickly backtrack a little bit to late 2014. It was getting closer to Halloween and MatPat wanted to make a special themed episode for the season. So he goes to Twitter for a poll on which game he should cover. The choices were between the popular game Slender Man and a brand new indie game that just recently released, Five Nights at Freddy's. And to the surprise, FNAF won by a landslide, so he got to work. And little did he know that this video choice was going to change the success of his channel forever. The first theory was an absolute hit and viewers begged for more. Thankfully, the creator of FNAF was fast in making a second game after the huge success of the first game, so MatPat had a fresh new game to tear apart. Now, if you know FNAF, you know this franchise ended up exploding like crazy, and so did the theory videos. As of now, I think Game Theory has just over 100 theories on FNAF, which is absolutely insane. And each of these videos got tons of positive engagement and brought a ton of success to the channel. But now comes what I believe to be the climax point in Matt's career. With the success of FNAF, there started to be talks in a movie that was going to be in the works. And while the movie took a whole 8 years to be released, it was well worth the wait for the fans. The movie even became the #1 highest grossed horror film of 2023. But why am I talking about the FNAF movie? Well, if you haven't seen it yet, I'm sorry, but I'm about to spoil something huge for you. MatPat actually makes an appearance in the movie and even gets to say his catchphrase of, "That's just a theory." This was massive for his career, but little did we know what was going to come up in the months following. On January 9th, 2024, MatPat uploads the video Goodbye Internet, where he announces his retirement of March 9th, 2024. This video quickly took to the trending page on YouTube, and MatPat was trending on Twitter with over 2,000 tweets in just over an hour of the video releasing. People took to the internet with both acceptance and wishing MatPat the best for his future, and also a few that disagreed with his decision. These people were probably just in disbelief, which is understandable. It's not every day that a legend like MatPat just decides enough is enough and announces retirement. But why did he decide now was the time to retire? Well, I'll let him do the honors of explaining briefly.
For me and my journey in this place, I always wanted to go out on a high note. And when you stop and look at the last year, this has been the best year in the theorist lifespan ever. Like, no joke. It is our highest view year. It is the year where we launched style theory and immediately put our foothold in a brand new space, and that took off, and now we're one of the top style and fashion channels on YouTube. And that kind of completes the trifecta of, hey, we now have a top channel in 4 different verticals that are completely different, and no other YouTuber really has ever been able to do it to that scale. That's amazing. This is also the year where I was able to meet you guys at our Broadway show. I was able to play at the PGA and show that, hey, YouTubers aren't particularly good at golf, but they can make your event relevant for like a couple of minutes. It was also the year that I got to host the Streamy Awards, and it wasn't cringe.
Now, at first glance, it's pretty understandable on why his time had come. No one likes working late into the night, especially if it's your dream job. People get tired all the same, just like MatPat. And having to raise a kid in all of this can't be easy. So give this man a crown for putting up with it for as long as he did. But to water it all down, doing this for 13 years is a long time. And it's not like a regular 9 to 5 that makes the minimum salary. YouTube pays extremely well, so after 13 years, he set himself and his family up for the rest of their existence. But now comes the reason for making this video. This is why I think MatPat isn't actually quitting YouTube. If you didn't watch the full farewell video, you'll definitely be confused, and even if you watch the whole thing, you might still fall in that same category of confusion. So let me explain. After MatPat hits you with all the reasons for you to cry, he drops something that I don't think a lot of people noticed. He says,
Kind of leaves us with one final question, right? Which is, what about me? You know, where do I go? Do I just retire to a beach somewhere? Do I whip a nene off into the distance? No. I'll still be here. I, stand aside as Santi, Lee, Amy, and Tom step up and take over the hosting role. But I'm still going to be here. I'm still going to be alongside the creative directors talking about programming, brainstorming ideas for upcoming episodes. That's awesome. I love that. I don't want to give that up.
Did you hear that? Well, if you didn't, you might want to consult your doctor about getting your ears checked, because you might have a problem. But I'll go ahead and explain it for you. He basically says that he won't be in the videos anymore, but he will still feature in the live streams from time to time, along with still working on the creative director's side of the channels, because he still loves the video idea side of things. So while he may not be in the videos anymore, he will still have a hand in almost every piece of content that shows up for us to watch. It's almost like he'll be there in spirit, even though he's not dead. The only MatPat that's really retiring for good is the iconic PNG MatPat. You will be missed. Unfortunately, MatPat's decision is final, and it's definitely well-deserved. He's worked so hard all these years, and it's the perfect time to pass the channel on to his other theorists. So all we can do is wave farewell and hope for the best that his future is nothing but amazing, and reminisce on the good times that his channel has left for us. But I think it's only right we end it off with this. As always, friends, remember, that's just a theory. A MatPat theory. Thanks for watching.